I'm Professor Adrian Thrasher. I'm a consultant immunologist at Great Ormond Street Hospital and work at the Institute of Child Health in London. And we're a world-leading group looking at the cause of immunodeficiency and treatment of these diseases by gene therapy. We've known for many years that we can cure diseases such as CGD using bone marrow transplants, but unfortunately for some children there isn't a suitable donor for a transplant, and for those children we've turned to a novel process called gene therapy. Instead of using somebody else's bone marrow, what we can do is try and modify the patient's own bone marrow to make it start working again and to make it start generating healthy immune cells such as neutrophils in CGD. We know from the early studies in gene therapy that the immune system can be restored to near full function for quite substantial periods of time, maybe not lifetime at the moment, but enough to recover patients from very serious illnesses. So viruses have evolved over many, many thousands of years to take their own genes into cells. Now we can modify those viruses to carry new genes into cells very effectively, and in so doing correct the disease in the bone marrow. We have to eliminate some of the diseased bone marrow to make space for the new bone marrow to grow and repopulate the blood system and immune system. So the patients do have to have some chemotherapy, but the actual procedure itself is relatively straightforward. Obviously we need to harvest some of the patient's own bone marrow, and we do that under a general anaesthetic. It takes an hour or so, and then the marrow is taken to a specialised laboratory in the hospital, and it's during that time, which takes a few days, that the new gene is put into the bone marrow cells. Then after a few days the stem cells have taken up that new gene and are ready to give back to the patients. There are risks associated with it because we can't necessarily control very accurately where the gene is implanted within the cell. The problem has been in a few patients with CGD and other similar immune disorders in that they developed side effects of the gene therapy, and that presented as a leukemia in some patients. And we've now gone on and modified the treatment to devise genetic medicines that are much safer and also probably more effective at treating the disease. CGD has been a model for development of gene therapies for many years, but the technology is applicable to many other conditions, so we know that we can use the same strategies for treatment of other immune disorders but also other blood disorders. The gene therapies we're talking about here are called somatic gene therapy because we are only altering the mature cells in our bodies. We're not altering the germline, so the genetic defects still can be passed on to future generations. It's a global effort really on CGD to try and develop lifelong cures for these patients. So we're now working with groups in Germany, in Paris, and the United States, and we'll see the new trials for CGD involving patients at all those different centres. Probably about 15 patients have received gene therapy, and we know from the early studies that the majority of these patients have had quite significant clinical benefit, even if it's for a short period of time. The new trials that we are working on now aim for a long-term correction, so a lifetime correction of the patients using genetic medicines. And the reason we think it's a lifetime event or a lifetime cure is because we can effectively put genes into the stem cells in the bone marrow which make our immune system and blood system for our whole lifetime. The challenge for us now is to make it more effective in a broader range of diseases and also safer. And I think we have the tools to do that, and that's what CGD patients will be receiving in the new trials that are starting at Great Ormond Street Hospital and other centres worldwide.